welcome to Pammy X Tutorials. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a GIF image, which is basically an animated image taken from a video clip of your choice. And I'm also going to show you how to watermark it or add your own little signature to it. That way no one can steal it if you post it up on a website. So first what you want to do is you want to get a YouTube downloader so you can download and convert your video. And then you want to open Photoshop, which I've already done. We're going to go to File. We're going to go to Import Video Frames to Layers. And what I'm going to use is a clip of one of my favorite shows, The Secret Circle. So you'll see when I clicked OK, it popped up this little video player here and it's showing me the whole little video. You can drag across and look at it. Basically, we can't use this whole thing. You want to keep your GIF image to a minimal amount of frames just for quality and saving space and time. You can have up to 500 layers and frames in your GIF. You really don't want that many because it's going to take a long time to save and upload, and it's also going to use a lot of memory in your computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click down on this little thing here, whatever you want to call it. You can call it, I don't know what to call it, so I'm going to call it a thing, and I'm going to drag it to the part I want. Now basically what's going on here is this guy right here is a witch, this guy is a witch hunter over here, Jake is a witch hunter. He's also a witch, how about that, and a witch hunter. But anyway, he's coming to threaten him, and he's making a witch crud, which is a tool that witches use to kill other witches. And he has to collect his blood and put it in the witch crud. That's what I want to make an animation of. So I'm going to drag this to my beginning point, which is when Jake has his witch hunter knife in the witch's arm, which is right about, no, back. There. Okay, so I'll start right there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Shift, click this, and drag it to my ending point. So he's cut him, and he's filling the witch crud with his blood. You see his face in agony, and that's where I want it. So I'm going to let go there. Well, hold on, let me try that again. There it is. Start, drag, and stop. Okay, so you'll see the little areas highlighted. That is obviously the area that it's going to convert into frames for us. So we click OK, and while it's loading, I'm going to go ahead and pause this because it takes a minute to load. Alright, so we're back, and we have our big old animation right here. Down here you see your frames, and off to the right you see your layers. Sometimes when you pop this up, you're not going to see your frames down here. Don't freak out if you don't see your frames. You just go to Window and make sure Animation is checked. See, if I uncheck it, they disappear. So go to Window and make sure Animation is checked. If you've never made an animation in Photoshop before, chances are this window up here is not going to be checked, so you're going to have to do that. Also, what I did is I grabbed a little bit of excess part that I don't want as a part of my GIF, and I did that just so I can show you how to clip pieces out. So 1 second. Okay, so I said before that I want it to start where his blade is on his arm, which is right here. So you'll see that that's 24 excess right here. 24 excess frames, sorry. So what I'm going to do is click frame 24, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key and drag it back to frame 1, and then click frame 1, and you see it highlighted all these frames that I don't want, and then we hit the trash can to delete those. There's also a few at the end of this that I want to get rid of. The very last part I want is the witch's face in agony. So that's going to be this one. That's the last layer I want. So I'm going to click on 236, hit Shift, drag it all the way to the end, click on 262, it highlighted them, and delete them. Also, what I want to go ahead and do is delete the frames over here just so they're not in the way while we're watermarking it. So if we click frame 1, we'll be able to see over here where it starts. See this little eyeball? That's showing you where it's going to start. So I'm going to click 24 because it starts at 25, hold Shift, drag to the bottom, delete, and then I'm going to repeat that at the top of the video, or GIF, which is 235. we scroll all the way up here, watch for our little eyeball. There it is. So we'll click the one above it, hold shift, go all the way to the last one, click it, and delete it. All right, so obviously this is too big. We're going to go back and click frame 1. Keeping frame 1 clicked and highlighted is very important. So always keep frame 1 clicked and highlighted. We're going to go to image size, and I want to constrain proportions so that it's not too out of whack. For my width, I want to do 300 pixels. Now 169 is a little short for my taste, so I'm going to bump that up just a few pixels and go to 175. If I bumped this up to like 200, it would make this GIF look really crappy, and it would have dots all over it. And let's face it, GIFs with dots all over it looks really, really crappy no matter what your friends tell you to make you feel good. So 175 by 300, that's good. Okay. And I'll just pause this because it's going to take a minute to resize. Okay, so now we have our nicely sized GIF right here. Now what we want to do, oops, sorry, I clicked something. Now what we want to do is add a little frame around the edges of it because frames look nice. So I have my very first frame selected, very important, and my very last layer. Above my very last layer, I'm going to make a new layer using the layer button right down here. And I want to fill this. We're going to fill this with a plain black using a shortcut key. So you're going to hold down shift and push backspace, and it's going to pull up your fill options. You want to have this unchecked. Foreground color will be whatever color's in front, which is my black. So I'm going to click OK. Now if you notice, it filled in all of our frames. Obviously we want to see what's behind that black. So I'm going to go over here to fill. Not opacity, but fill. And I'm going to bump that all the way down to 0. So to get my frame around this, I'm going to go down here to FX and click stroke. And I'm going to put a nice plain black frame around it. I'm going to do mine at 2 pixels. Some people like 4. I think it's a little too thick for me. Obviously, if you go really, really thick, it's going to make your GIF smaller and smaller and smaller on the inside. So I'm going to stick with 2 because that's what I like. Personal preferences are personal preferences, so you do however you like. So 2 pixels. Now if you look down here, this stroke that we put around here is only showing on the first frame. Second frame, third frame, all of the frames it's missing. So while this is clicked on the first frame, you want to click Unify. See this little Unify? Go all the way to the last option of Unify where the little F is and click it, and then Match. That way this layer is going to look the same on all frames. So now it's covering all of our frames. Now what we're going to do is add a little tag to it, add a name to it. That way if someone takes it and steals it, you know it's yours. Hey, I put that name on there, that's my name, give it back. So what I'm going to do is click, remember, first frame is highlighted, last layer. It's very important to do that. If we had our first layer highlighted, excuse me, the text wouldn't show because it would be underneath all of these other layers. So first frame, last layer, go to our text tool, and I'm going to use my new favorite font, which is Jane Austen, and I'm going to go ahead and tag it with my tutorial name, Pammy X Tutorials. We don't want it so big, so I'm going to choose an 18. So Pammy X Tutorials. Alright, so I'm just going to drag this down here in the corner. We don't want it abundant so that it's taken up, you know, all the visualization. You don't want the eye to be drawn to it, but you do want to know that it's there. That's a little plain, so we're going to make it nice. We'll do, I don't know if you can really stroke around it without covering the whole thing because it's so small. Yeah, we can do a nice gray stroke. 21, 21, 21 will be the color code that I'm going to use. It's a nice gray. Click OK. Remember to unify it so that stroke shows in all of our frames. And then I'm going to go to the fill and bump that down, which will give the inside a little bit of a transparency to it. So just something really simple. You don't want to add too much color to this. If you do, it's going to make it dotty and it's going to look like crap. I don't want to get 50 different brushes and make sparkles and dots or hearts or whatever, because it's going to make it dotty. The more color that is on this GIF, the more dots that are going to be on there. So you'll notice I chose black. I mean, you can choose a color, but choose one color, not 50 different colors. Okay, so basically, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick watch, make sure everything's right, make sure my words aren't jumping around my GIF, which they're not. I'm pretty satisfied with it. So now we're going to save it. We're going to go to File, and we do not want to save or save as. We want to save for web devices. Excuse me. And this is going to pop up. It's going to automatically try to save it as a PNG. We want to save it as a GIF. But first, uncheck the transparency box. This is going to minimize any spotting and dots, and we don't want it to look like crap. So now we wait a minute while it loads. I'll go ahead and pause it. It takes a minute to load. Okay, so now we have our GIF here. We can hit play and make sure that our timing is proper. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. You can see our watermark clearly so no one can steal it without you knowing. And I really like the way this looks. No dots, doesn't look like crap, it looks good. So we'll stop it and we will save it. And I will save it as Jake. And there you are. You now know how to make a GIF image and watermark it. So stay tuned for more tutorials. Thank you very much.